Welcome back to our Habits Matter series. This is a series of videos leading up to the beginning of the second semester this year in order to kind of help you reach your goals. So, part two is called Changing Your Environment. So, how much does your environment matter? Here, we're obviously talking about like your living or study environment. Matters a lot. So James Clear, he wrote the book Atomic Habits, which is really having a moment right now. He's an expert on this. He did a lot of research on the neuroscience of habits, but also like social stuff and motivation. And he says that environment matters a lot more than our intrinsic motivation. And it just kind of is an aid to like us having to rely less on our own willpower, basically. Because willpower is a finite source in our brains. So what do we mean here by environment? Generally, when we say change your environment while we're building habits, we mean provide yourself with cues to make or break habits. Now, usually cues would be visual. So like, how can we set up our environment to make it easier for us to make or break a habit, basically? Because we should make this easier for ourselves. It's hard enough to build good habits and have this motivation. Like, let's harness things that can help us along the way. So environmental cues. Let's say I want to build a habit of running in the morning or just, working out, whatever. A cue might be to get out my running clothes and shoes the night before. So this eventually actually becomes part of the ritual of the habit, and you'll find that those dopamine rushes that you get from finishing a habit, the reward that you get that provides the dopamine, that actually ends up becoming part of the ritual of the habit. So like when you get out your running clothes and shoes, you'll get a little dopamine hit and it'll feel really good because it's part of the ritual. People love rituals. So build a ritual with your habit where you're setting up the cue. And so maybe an academic example might be like, I want to build a habit of starting my work day with my chem homework because that'll really set me up for the rest of the day. It'll get the hard thing out of the way first. I'll feel really accomplished. So maybe a cue for that would be to get out your notebook and maybe pull up the Blackboard site on your browser before you shut your laptop for the night, which just means that the first thing that you'll see when you open your laptop for the day to get your work done would be your chemistry Blackboard site. And that doesn't mean you can't go to YouTube or whatever and start messing around there and procrastinating, but it just makes it easier. We're just getting ourselves one step closer to doing the habit, which does make a difference in the end. So list some of the things in your study environment that you find distracting. So we actually have a Google Doc here in the description box that you can go to, and you can download a copy of that for yourself, or you can make a copy into your own Google Drive, or you can just write this down maybe on your phone or on a Word document or on a piece of paper. But make a list of those things in your study environment that distract you. Tangible things. For most people, the main thing is their phone. But it sometimes helps to go a little deeper and say, like, what on my phone is distracting me? That can be really helpful sometimes. So, self-reflection, a little bit more. Let's go a little deeper. So think about the good habits that you want to build. Now, what's missing from your environment that might help you build them? Think about the cues that you can add to make your good habits easier to just start every day. And think about the bad habits that you want to break, and think about the changes to your environment that might make it harder to perform those habits. So, create something that gets in the way of you and your bad habit, basically. So take a few minutes. It's on the worksheet. There's 2 spots for you to do this. One to things that can help you, and one spot for things that will hinder you. But think about your ideal environment for academic performance. Like, what does that environment have in it that you don't maybe have in your general study environment? And then think about the things that you have in your environment that your ideal environment doesn't have. And think about how you can really build an ideal environment for you. And there's no perfect environment. We all have things that are going to distract us, whether that's our parents or friends or our phones or, our roommate or a variety of things, anything. But let's figure out kind of ways basically in which we can build these good habits to just kind of push those distractions as far away as we possibly can. So good work. That's all for today. And now next week, we're going to do part 3, which is called the 2-minute rule. And if that sounds easy, don't worry, it is. So thanks for joining us today, and we will see you back next time.